and thanks for tuning in. This is Superior Synergy Games, and today I'm going to be covering the top 6 of an event that was held on the Lorcana Play Network. This was held by us over at Mishi in the Mishi's Lair Discord. And so this was an event held on Monday, March 4th. So this is a weekly that happens every single Monday. And it is capped at 32 players, and we usually have been averaging about 20 to 24, but we're looking to hopefully fill that up. And it's a $10 entry with a percentage of the winnings going out to 1st through 6th place. And so today we're just going to go through the lists of the 1st through 6th place and look at how they built those decks. So to start it off here, we've got June Choi. June ended up going 5-0 and winning out this event, so congrats to them. And we'll take a look at their list here. It looks like they were on Ruby Amethyst, and so as we go down the list, we're seeing a lot of the normal Ruby Amethyst cards that everyone's used to. So we've got the 4 times Be Prepared, the 4 Friends, the 3 Snakes, 4 Foxes, 3 Mauis, 4 of the Merlin Rabbit, the nice tech of the 2 crabs, which have been great, I know, to get over those locations sometimes when you have a smaller creature that you want to buff up a little bit. We've got 4 times of the Merlin Goat. We've only got 3 of the Stylish Surfer Mini, this was kind of a staple of the last set in set 2, so interesting to see this one being dropped down by 1, but I know there's a lot of different ways to deal with evasive cards now, so not quite as good as it was. We've got the 2 1-drops, the 3 and the 4 of the Olaf and Mini. We've got 3 Teeth and Ambitions, a great card to deal with lots of low health things that may drop early from the opponent. And then we've got an interesting addition here. We've got the 1 of the Elsa Spirit of Winter. And so I know a lot of people are pretty biased on this card. Some people think it's really bad, some people think it's really good. Me personally, I think it can work if you have a certain type of deck where maybe you're running blue and you have a chance to dump this card into your Inkwell with Bonequill, because this can kind of be stuck in your hand here in the Ruby Amethyst. But obviously it worked for June Choi, and I watched a couple of their matches, and every time it was dropped it was kind of a game-winning thing, or it really helped seal the deal. So really cool addition there. I've got 2 of the Cusco Wanted Llamas, always great to be able to draw that card when it dies. We've got a new set 3 card. We've got the Madame Medusa, so it's kind of the opposite to Lady Tremaine, which we've got the 2 times Tremaine down here. So I see a lot of lists that are running the 2 of each and kind of using them when they need to use them. So we've got the 2 Jim Hawkins with the 4 Queen's Castles, so very nice. Looks like that's the whole list here. So it looks like June ended up just going with the Queen's Castle and not running the RLS Legacy that some of these Ruby Amethysts are running. So I personally like this Queen's Castle more just because it's inkable and you can get rid of it when you need. And same with Jim, putting him down at 2 I think is a really great number because he's inkable. Sometimes he's not useful when he's in your hand and you don't have a location to drop with him because his stats aren't exactly the best, so doesn't have evasive or anything like that, so not exactly the number 1 card. Then we've got 2 of the Maleficent Sorceress. I think a lot of people were running 3 of these in the previous set, so it looks like this is down 1, which no problem with that. It's still a great card. We covered the 2 Tremaines. And then we've got 2 times the Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. And so this is a card that a lot of people in some of these Ruby Amethysts hadn't been running this because they hadn't been getting up to that 9 cost to be able to drop this. But either way, it's inkable, and it's nice removal for some big bodies. I know a lot of Amber Steel lists are playing the big Cinderella, and that's a tough card to deal with unless you have some nice removal. So very cool to see this. And then we have the Maui's Fishhook, and I noticed this item being run quite a bit, and I think you're going to see it a lot more in the meta going forward. A lot of people were able to use this with their Mauis or with any other monster to be able to swing down those big locations and power up their people, and especially with if you control Maui, this is free, the ability. So really good list here, so congrats to June Choi on 1st place. So let's go into 2nd place here. We have Joshua K. And then Shadox, looks like it's their nickname, and I did see that they were streaming this entire event on Twitch, so definitely go over and check them out on Twitch. Very good player. I watched a lot of the matches, and it was very cool to watch. So Joshua here is on a Ruby Sapphire list. So cool to see this list do so well. I know it was a list a lot of people liked to run in the previous set, and a lot of people couldn't keep up with the Ruby Amethyst that was going on, so cool to see this coming back. So we've got the 4 times Be Prepared, 4 Develop Your Brain, the 4 Gastons, 4 of the Grammatala, Keeper of Ancient Stories. This is really cool because it's shiftable with the big Grammatala, and this also lets you kind of look at your top cards and pick what you want and put what you don't want to the bottom. So always nice to know what you're drawing and drawing the cards you want instead of top decking some cards that aren't so great. So we have the small Grammatala as well, which great card when it pops, and also another shift target. We've only got 2 Hades Infernal Schemers, which is an interesting choice. I know it's uninkable, but it also is that really great removal in this deck, so obviously worked well for them. We've got the Heart of Tefiti, so a way to ramp, pretty nice, and so it's inkable, so that is also really nice. And I did see this come down quite a bit, and it was able to help close out games and ink a little bit with the big Grammatala out to gather some lore. We've got the Hero, just for obviously the draw package in here. We've got the Madame Medusa. This is some great extra removal that this deck is able to now run and kind of be more focused and take out specific targets, like your Beast, Tragic Heroes, and all sorts of things with maybe a little bit lower attack. You've of course got your 4 times Maleficent Dragons. This deck ramps quick. It's going to get to that 9. It's going to hit this, and it's going to use it to pop something. So again, we see the Maui's fish hooks here, especially with the Maui. This is a great combo, and I know a lot of decks are running locations. I mean, this one itself is running the McDuck Manor at that 9 strength, so it's tough to get over, but Maui and the Maui's Fish Hook together gets over it. So, and then obviously the McDuck Manor here, a lot of people have kind of replaced bells with this in these blue decks, so very interesting change in the metagame here, and it'll be interesting to see if more location hate comes out, or people start running a little more location hate when people maybe hop back to the bells, but at the moment it looks like these mansions are working. We've got the 1 Jump Ahead here, great card to ramp, and I did actually watch one of Joshua's games that got closed out where they won with a top deck of a 1 Jump Ahead with the big Grammatala out to close the deal and get that last lore that they needed. So clutch card at the end of a game. And you've got your awesome 1-drop popsicles. Not much explanation needed here. It's draw with Huron. And 1 time of Scar, Vicious Cheater. So great card if the opponent's not expecting it. They've exerted a lot of their field, a lot of low health stuff. Can take out a lot with this card if things have very low attack. So great list overall. I'm excited to see how this list develops throughout the set, and I think this is going to be a big deck that a lot of people play. So let's pop over here to 3rd place. We've got Liam Walker. And so it looks like Liam Walker is on Ruby Amethyst as well as the 1st place. We're going to kind of go over a little bit of the differences that I noticed in this list. So just for starters, we've got the 4 times Rafiki. This is a new card. I see a lot of Amethyst deck running as their 1-drop. So I'm assuming they replaced the Olafs with these in this deck. So a cool little change here. I like them both. So I'm curious to see which one kind of ends up as the 1-drop on top that more people run. Again, here we're seeing a lower number of the Minnie Mouse stylish surfers. I don't know if people are just now using them to close out games when they have them, drop them in Quest for 2, but we're definitely not seeing as many of them. We've got the minis, 1 more Cusco than the other list is running. They're running an additional snake as well. And it looks like here we've got the Pinocchio Talkative Puppet. So this is really awesome to run, as it obviously exerts your opponent's creatures, and this might be why they run the Rafiki, to be able to challenge things, or maybe 1 more of these crabs so that they had the extra power to get over things that they needed to destroy. We've got the Merlin Goat and Rabbit package, of course. Same 2 of the Jim Hawkins Space Travelers. I'm just going to scroll down and see. Looks like, again, they're just running the Queen's Castle. They're not running the RLS Legacy, so that might be what the current meta is at. We've got Maui and the Fish Hook. I think top 3 have all run this combo here so far, so it obviously proved to work. We've got 3 of the Madame Medusa. Did I see any Tremaine? No, I don't think I see any Tremaine on here. So this person had decided to go with all Madame Medusa and no Tremaine. So obviously worked out pretty well for them to land them in 3rd place. So congrats to them. We again see the same of the 2 times Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. Great card. It seems to be kind of making a comeback. We see the 1 of the Teeth Ambitions instead of the 3 of in the number 1 list with June. So interesting change up here. And then the 4 of Friends, Be Prepared, and Queen's Castle. So a little bit different than the deck that got first place, but overall very cool to see the differences, and I'm sure they played a little bit different as well. So let's hop on over here to our 4th place deck. This is Thomas Olton. And it looks like we've got green, purple. All right. So I know this is a deck that kind of had been finding its way on the ladder and been run by a lot of people after I know this deck had won some large event over in Germany. So let's see if this is a similar deck to that. And it looks like just off the bat you've got the Cursed Merfolk. Really great cards as they kind of dump cards out of your opponent's hand. And same with Flynn. They're essentially the same exact card, just different costs, and one's uninkable. We've got Strike a Good Match. This is a great card if you kind of want to cycle through your cards and dig a little deeper, maybe discard some uninkables that are kind of stranded in your hand right now. So I'm curious to see if you'll see more decks running this, because I think this is one of the great cards that's coming out of set 3. So we've got the 2-drop Ursula. Not much need to explain here. Pop songs out of hands of opponents, so you're almost always going to get a hit at the moment with so many decks running songs, so great inclusion here. We've got the 3-drop Ursula, so obviously this can double up on singing songs. It's great when you sing Strike a Good Match. Looks like they were running Bibbidi Bobbidi, so there's all sorts of different spells you can combo with this. They're only at the 3 of. I know a lot of decks are running 4, but a lot of times myself when I run this card I kind of get stuck with a second hand that I just end up inking anyway, so I think 3 of might be a pretty great number there. So the Bibbidi Bobbidi, always great if you're trying to like Genie here, if you're trying to get the on-play effects off multiple times, you can remove a lot. Same with Kit. So Kit is a great card. We got the 4 of. It removes a lot of threats off the board early, or at least just puts it back in their hand to delay your opponent. A lot of cards have low attack, so this can hit a lot of cards. We've got the Mother Knows Best. Again, it's more with this Ursula here. You can send multiple things back to hand, and if it's back in hand, you're not dealing with it. So we've got Genie on the job, obviously the 2 of, but try and replay it with the Bibbidi Bobbidi. We've got Pascal. Been always a great 1 cost. As soon as you got something else on board, it's usually just going to continuously sit there and quest. It might not be a lot, but that 1 of it quests every single turn adds up to quite a bit. So we've got the 2 of Rafiki, so a lot of different 1 costs between the Merfolk, the Pascal, and the Rafiki. The Rafiki must be used to obviously pop some things that are a little bit larger, maybe some locations. It attacks for 3 when it's attacking, so I'm assuming that's why it's at a little bit of a lower amount. It can be dug for when it's needed. So we've got the Friends on the other side, the Fox, the 2 crabs. It looks like a lot of decks are on that 2 of the crab right now. It's just nice when you can find it and use that extra attack. The 4 of the goat. Only 3 rabbits in here, but it's uninkable, so I definitely understand that. 4 of the sorceress just to replace itself, and I think one of the best cards in this deck here is this Queen's Castle, just given the extra draw. And if you're bouncing things off your opponent's field, they're not attacking your castle, and your castle's going to sit there and keep getting lower. So very cool deck. Thomas Holton with 4th place, so congrats to them. So let's go on to Adam Crofts. Alright, and so Adam Crofts was on an Amber Ruby list. So first one we've seen of that. So let's dig in and see what we got here. So right off the bat, we got some, 4 docks here. So some cost reduction in this list, which is very cool to see. Something usually makes me think we're looking at maybe a Mufasa deck. We've got the 3 of Medusa and Tremaine, as well as 2 Monstrous Dragons. So this is a solid removal package. Instead of 2 and 2, this person had gone with 3 and 3. So they obviously were probably able to remove quite a bit off the field, especially when they're able to play these a couple turns early with Doc. We've got the 4 of Maui. Obviously, great card, deals with everything you need it to deal with. We've got the 4 of Stylish Surfers. This looks like it's not cutting any. It's running the complete 4 of. The 4 Mother Gothels, just that great 2-cost play as a threat on board, and if it survives until Rapunzel's on, it's a nice way to heal and keep your hand full. 4 of Mufasa, not much explanation needed there. It's a great card, going to replace itself when it dies, and kind of is one of the cores of this whole deck. We've got the 4 Plutos, as well as the big Pluto to shift if you ever need to. So I did witness this get shifted a couple different times in a couple matches, and when that hits the field, you got to remove it, and you need a lot of attack to get over that, but just due to this Pluto healing. I know this deck is running Pride Lands because I saw this Pluto get put on the Pride Lands and was sitting at a 310. Very hard to get over. So And then small Pluto, obviously, combined with that, can help you get to your Mufasas or any other high-cost cards you need early. So we've got the 4 of Prince Eric. Obviously, a very hard card hard to deal with because it's usually going to kill something on your board when it dies, and it gets to decide what it's going to kill. So this is a card you got to deal with when you don't have much on board, but if you don't deal with it, it's going to keep questing for 2. So obviously being uninkable is tough, but in a deck that can find its ink, this is a great turn 4 play. So we've got a Rapunzel, obviously plenty of targets to heal in here between your Mother Gothels. That big Pluto can get healed. Your dragons, your Medusa, your Tremaine, lots of options to heal there. So kind of that draw engine to keep the cards in hand. If your opponent's not playing Whole New World, you gotta find a way to keep that hand full. So we've got the Bodyguard in here, the Simba Protective Cup. Obviously a great turn 2 play if you drop something like a Pluto turn 1 and you need to kind of ramp to things. We've got our 3 of Stitch Carefree Surfer. And great card draw as well here, and it's inkable, so always great to get rid of if you don't need it. I know we're running the Mufasa package, but it looks like we're running 4 targets that the Mufasa can't hit. So we've got the 2 Bare Necessities and the 2 Pride Lands. I think Bare Necessities, anytime you're playing Amber, is kind of a necessity to play. It deals with so many cards, whether it's locations, items, songs, actions, you name it. It's going to pretty much hit something when it's played. So if you need to get that, be prepared out of their hand, this is the card. If you know that location's coming down next turn, this is the card to play. If you know they're gonna turn 3 Bone Quill, this is the card to play to take out those answers in your opponent's hand. And then we've got the 2 of the Pride Lands, obviously more cost reduction here, as well as to give that little extra strength to your creatures. I did see that big Pluto land here at one point and become a 3/10. It was really crazy to see. Not a lot can remove that. You kind of need some hard removal, but that's a tough way to play. So we've got the 1 times Chernabog. I think this is a great number. When you find it, it's great, but once you play 1, it puts all your cards back, so it's not like you can drop a second one right after that. So I think 1 of is really great because when this hits the field, you have to deal with it right away, or it's gonna kind of take over the game. And then we've got the 4 of Piglet Pooh Pirate Captain. So great card to gather a lot of lore really quick. Your opponent can kind of just watch a game walk away from them as these piglets hit the field and just start questing for game. It can really speed games up. So really great list here. I'm excited to see how this list changes throughout the set, but I think this is a really cool one. So let's move on finally to 6th place. We've got Gregory McCoy. And let's see what they're running. Looks like they're running Amber Steel Song set 3. So let's see how their variation of this. And so we've got of course, 4 times Whole New World. That's a necessity. You know, a lot of steel decks. That means how you keep your hand full and keep new cards in hand when you're have all these songs in here and card ways to sing the songs early, like your Ariels. Just so great. So obviously the new best steel spell here is and then along came Zeus. The steals with so many targets, Tinkerbells, your Tragic Beasts. Really, most characters you can pop this to deal 5 damage to them. So really great card. We've got some more damage dealing here between the Grab Your Swords, Let the Storm Rage On. Looks like they settled with 3 of each. I think that's pretty great. You don't want too many of them in your hand. They're all uninkable, so it's better to be on these lower costs, especially when you can play an Ariel to go search the top 4 of your decks and hopefully find whichever one you need at that time. So we've got the Bare Necessities. It's a song, fits really well in this deck. It's really great in the mirror when you're trying to deal with songs from your opponent and you want to play your songs before them. So it comes down in 2 and it is inkable, so great addition. 3 of Strength of a Raging Fire. Obviously when you start going wide with maybe a bunch of Cinderella Ballroom Sensations, or just when you start really setting up your field, this is a great way to remove some big target, whether it's something with just crazy health that you just can't get over, or just something with evasive that you have no other way to hit. We've got our Ariel. It's been kind of the staple of these singing decks since set 1. 4 of is a great number here, and I mean this is going to find your songs, and it's going to ramp you and let you sing songs that you shouldn't be able to sing early. All these 4 cost songs. So great card. We've got our Cinderella Stout-Hearted, 3 of them, with the 4 times down here of the shiftable Cinderella. So 3 is a great number to be on. When this card hits the field, especially if it hits the field turn 5 off a shift, you have to deal with it pretty quick, or it's either going to start questing for a lot of lore, or it's going to slowly take out your side of the field. So this is a card that I think a lot of people are going to need removal to deal with. With that 2 resist, it's not something you necessarily want to attack to remove, because you're going to have to trade quite a few of your cards into it. So 4 times Beast Tragic Hero. I think any steel deck should have 4 of these in them, no matter what version of steel they're at. So I don't even think there's much I have to say about that. Our Cinderella Ballroom Sensation, again, it's like Ariel. You're gonna cheat to these songs that you shouldn't be able to play a turn or a couple turns early and play them. These 3-cost songs, really great. So we've got our Rapunzel's. If the Whole New Worlds weren't enough to draw, well, Rapunzel will also give you that extra draw, especially when you've got cards like your Cinderella. If people start trading their characters into it and you can heal it, well, that 2 resist is just going to be so difficult to deal with, especially after you've healed it. So great card. We've got the first we've seen of this Robin Hood package. This is just, I mean, a shift 3 on this big Robin Hood onto the little Robin Hood can really just take over games turn 3, and not a lot of these big steel shiftable characters drop that early, but dropping at turn 3, he's a 3/6, so he's tough to deal with at that 6 strength. You can't just play the Zeus spell to deal 5 to him. It's not going to finish him off, so that 6 strength kind of really makes him tough to deal with. So we've got the Stitch package. We've got 4 of the little one, 3 of the Rockstar, and 2 of the big one, the Surfer. So obviously we got draw here in total, and this kind of leans into that go wide strategy when this deck needs to shift into it. So we've got 3 of the Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, nice little board wipe, and I don't think there's any shifting happening in this one. Nope, looks like they are going to be playing this on 6, which is alright. It's not like it's the end of the world to play this on 6, because it's going to deal damage when it drops, and it's just a great card. So we've got the 3 of the Lantern. So obviously cost reduction is great in here. I think we've seen a lot of items today, so I think you're going to see more item hate going forward, just because if you leave this Lantern down, especially as they keep playing Whole New World, they're going to just empty their hand. If people can get 3 of these Lanterns down, they can just drop way more cards than you can, because their cards cost 3 less. So really great card, and it's one you got to deal with the second it hits the field. So, and then we've got the 1 of Cinderella Knight in Training. This is an interesting addition to play a 1 of something. Obviously, it's another shiftable target, and it lets you shuffle through. So maybe in the future this either gets cut, or maybe they liked it a lot and they might add a couple more of these. So definitely an interesting 1 of, but obviously for them to land in 6th place, it worked for them. So congrats to them. I believe that was Gregory McCoy. So yep, that was our top 6 of this event. Congrats to all of them. And so this is an event that we hold every single Monday, 7 p.m. Central Time, and we cap 32 people. So come check us out. I'm going to leave the link to our Discord in the comments there, as well as the next event that we will have, and that will be on March 11th. So, and this will be a weekly video series that we have come out a day or 2 there after the event, once we have the deck lists all compiled. So subscribe and stay tuned, as we're going to kind of learn here what the meta is going to be for set 3 into the Inklands. So thank you all for watching.